So here's Bob Navarre, author.
Just curious to know, is there anyone here that's ever heard of Nabiru? Does that ring a bell? Nabiru? Okay. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's probably good, but you've never heard of this. Okay, it's the 10th planet, the 12th planet. Some people call it Clarion, the Pelnic, another word for heaven. Okay, so that's the title of this book. And the title is inspired by an 88-year-old man that I met. So I'm gonna begin at the beginning and just read a little bit of Nabiru. We're on a spaceship, the old man said. There are no passengers, there are only crew. And where are we heading? To Nabiru, the old man said, matter-of-factly. Nabiru? Never heard of it. Nabiru is the 10th planet in our solar system. The Sumerians discovered it. We call it Clarion. I call it the Pelnic, the old man said. The Pelnic's another word for heaven. Nabiru has a mass 3 times that of the planet Earth and takes 3,600 Earth miles to make one revolution around the sun. So that's where we're going. Maybe. We're not in the driver's seat, he pointed out rather emphatically. We're captives. We're just along for the ride. All this came after something I told him earlier in our conversation. I should explain. Before today, I never knew this man. I met him by chance in the restaurant while I was killing time before going to my interview at 9. Earlier, I mentioned to him that I'd been reading the Gospel according to St. Thomas and about the inner light, the spiritual light that's in all of us. And he had replied by declaring that there were 11 levels of spirituality. You mentioned that there are not 1 but 11 levels of spirituality? I said, tell me more. You're just a neophyte, he declared. Why should I tell you? You wouldn't understand, so why bother? We sat there in silence for some time. I looked up at the clock. It was nearly time for me to take the elevator to the 9th floor where I'd be meeting with the committee. Apparently the old man was not in the habit of initiating conversation. He stared past me as if I weren't even there. I decided I would break the ice. Do you come here very often? To Earth? Not very often. I mean to this restaurant. To tell you the truth, I don't even know where I am. Furthermore, I don't even care. We're in a restaurant on the ground floor of the Whitney building. I have to go pretty soon, but tell me, where can I find you? Where do you hang out? I'd like to talk to you again when there's more time. Why? What for? You must be crazy. Why do you say that? To want to talk with me? You have to be out of your mind. Say, you're very jumpy. Something must be wrong with you. I'm going to a very important interview. So what? The problem with you is that you care. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be so jumpy. You have to desensitize yourself. Look, I only have a few more minutes. Tell me more about the 11 levels. You're ignorant. You wouldn't understand. He hesitated for some time before he added, it's all bull. I can't say the whole word. Okay, PG. What's bullshit? You mean the 11 levels? Bullshit, I made it up. Like everything else? Yes. Then how can I know what's true? You can't. Then what's the point of even talking? Entertainment. It passes the time. For that time you're not bored. I have to go now, I said. Don't hurry back. He did not smile. Maybe he meant it. He said it himself. He doesn't care. I said goodbye to the old man and left. I rode the elevator to the 9th floor and stepped inside the room where they were waiting for me. Now that's the beginning. I got maybe another minute. Paul, the main character, does not meet this old man again for another 50 pages or so. So I'm just going to give you a few paragraphs of a subsequent meeting. Fortunately, I knew where I could find him. When I arrived at Coney Vance, Chester was in the midst of haranguing his cohorts on the evils of capitalism. Capitalism has turned ugly and destructive, Chester declared. Now every commodity has a cartel. Cartels control everything, from oil to healthcare. Furthermore, cartels are controlled by just a few powerful dynasties. And if you still believe that America is a democracy, you're crazy. It's an oligarchy, and capitalism is not really capitalism, it's corporatism. Frank interrupted in order to ask Chester how he defined a cartel. Chester, as always, took the time to choose his words very carefully. A cartel is a clique of people who put a fixed price on products and services. The oligarchy controls the cartels. Because they have what we need and want, they control us. Don't think you can change it because you can't. Why not, I asked. Because the state can't break it up. It's a prisoner like us. The media can't expose it because it knows better than to bite the hand that feeds it, and the people are bought off. The people are sheep, Chester announced with disdain in his voice. We're living in a bubble. Someday the bubble will burst. People will lose their homes. History repeating itself, Diamond said. These are friends of his sitting around. That's right, Chester agreed. The next Great Depression will be even greater than the first. It will be a catastrophe. The house of cards that we built on the ideology of free trade and the global economy will come tumbling down. In the long run, we're all finished, Chester claimed. I heard Chester refer to the Rothschilds on more than one occasion, but whenever I tried to get him to talk on the subject, he would summarily dismiss me on the grounds that I didn't have the necessary background to comprehend the money system. These are complex issues, he'd say, and then change the subject. However, on that day, I was able to goad him into talking about it, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. Who are the Rothschilds, I asked. You mean, who are the Rothschilds? You mean you don't know? Where have you been living all these years? In a cave? Okay. You can come out into the light, but only for a few minutes. I'll keep it simple, Chester promised. The Rothschilds are a family of German bankers. Like the Rockefellers, they're a dynasty, a succession of rulers that are able to maintain power for generation after generation. These dynasties and their agents operate under a cloak of invisibility. They're a concealed world network owning banks in nearly every country. Remember what I said about revolutions? Yeah, I said. You said in order to stop a revolution, you have to start a revolution. Very good. You're not as dumb as I thought you were. What's that got to do with the Rothschilds? The current revolution began with the Rothschilds, and it's still going on. It's been going on for over 200 years. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you? I'm not aware of any revolution. They don't want you to be aware of it. They work in secret. They have agents who do the bidding. They're a syndicate that operates through various internally linked organizations. For example, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg Group, the Club of Rome, the Trilateral Commission. They have a project for the world. Their goal is one world government, but first they have to deconstruct the old world, which they are in the process of doing. Maybe we should stop right here. I don't believe you have the background to go any deeper into this subject. It's too complex. We're talking about shadow governments, international banking, high finance. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Make it simple. So simple that even a dummy like me can understand it. Can you understand this simple point? Money is an instrument of power. If you have enough of it, like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, there's hardly anything you can't do. You can finance elections. They wanted Theodore Roosevelt for president, so they got him. You can influence the money system of a nation. They wanted to establish a Federal Reserve System in this country, and they did. You can overthrow governments. They financed the Russian Revolution. Do you understand? Money is an instrument of power. I understand. I'm not sure I believe it, though. What's your proof? That's where it gets a little complex. Try taking my word for it. I'll leave the research up to you. Okay, when I have time. So you don't want to do the hard work. Then take it on faith. These people are globalists. Their long-range objective is to replace the nation-state with the market state. It's what we call the New World Order. Globalization appears to be inevitable. In that case, you have to be one or the other, either a globalist or a nationalist. Only two choices? Well, maybe three. What's that? You can work for the universal spiritual revolution. I'll stop there at that point. Okay, you can work for that revolution. I'll let it go there. That's Nabiru. I've written 3 novels. That's the first one. And if you want to read it, it's free. It's on the internet. I just put it on this week. My daughter put it on, so if you want to ask her, because I'm not even sure how to get to it.